Hello blingers, and welcome back to my channel. It's Lady T's Things That Bling, crafting and creating with lupus. So glad you all decided to join me today. And today I'm going to be talking to you about how to replace ink in my Epson 7710, Epson Workforce 7710. I'm doing this for a special person who is one of my subscribers, and this is for Miss Ruth. So she's new to sublimation, and I just wanted to show her the way I do it. Now, there are many YouTubers out here who can probably teach you better than me, but I thought I'd give it a try because this is the method that I use and it works fine for me. So here's my Epson, and again, it's the Epson 7710 Workforce 7710, and as you can see, I am out of black ink, completely out of black ink. So when you have an X next to one of the colors, that means it's completely out. So what I had to do was lift open my printer and let it do what it does, and then when it gets back over, I take the cartridges out. All of the cartridges were not empty, however, some of them were very low, so I just decided to fill them all. Now, these were empty cartridges that I got from Amazon, and there's something that I really kind of want to say about these cartridges, but I'm gonna hold it because the video is going a little bit fast for me. So those are the 4 bottles of ink that I use. And I like the quality of the ink. So far, it hasn't given me any trouble. And the ink comes with 4 syringes and 4 needle-like parts so that you can suck the ink up through the needle. Now I'm doing the blue ink. You have to be very careful when you're doing this because sometimes when you're using the syringe and you're pulling the ink up, sometimes it can get a lot of bubbles, and you don't want all of those bubbles because it can cause problems. So I was having problems with this blue syringe, this blue ink, and it wasn't going in the syringe, so I had to use a bowl so that I can pull up the blue. And I got the bowl from the Dollar Tree. Sorry, my hand's in the way, but I did put the syringe in there, and I filled up a little bit too much of the ink. As you can see, it's running. So I have my handy dandy diaper wipes. Yes, I use diaper wipes in my office for problems like these. I'm very clumsy sometimes, so I want to be able to wipe it up really quickly. And here I'm just going to pour the ink back into the bottle that I didn't use and close it up and put it to the side so that I don't have a major ink accident. Listen, learn from my experience. Close things up and put it to the side when you get done. That syringe, now you cannot use that syringe in the other colors. That's why they give you 4, so each color can have its own syringe. Be very careful when you're filling these and make sure that the ink corresponds with the ink cartridge, that you're putting the right ink in the right cartridge. That might sound like, well, why would you say that? Everybody's, smart enough to know the difference. Well, sometimes you might get caught up and you might be frustrated or whatever the case is. I'm just saying, make sure you put the right ink in the right cartridge. And please, whatever you do, make sure when you get finished filling up your cartridge that you put everything away. Now I'm trying to show you from that side. Now the yellow one really I didn't have to put that much yellow in there because it wasn't all the way down. It was more than halfway full, but I decided, what the heck, let's just fill everything up. And again, I'm moving the syringe because you can't mix syringes with other colors because I don't know what color you might get. So that's why they give you 4 separate syringes. Now I'm going to use red. I really felt like I could be a nurse, giving somebody a needle right there. But we all know that I'm not a nurse nor a doctor or anything like that in the medical profession. So I had to pour the red in a bowl as well because it was getting too much air in the syringe, and I really just didn't want to have to deal with all of that. Now this way of doing it, Ruth, and to everyone else who's listening, I find this way much easier. I did have the system, the CISS system, which has the hoses that you connect to the printer, and you tape it outside and you do these other things with it. I couldn't deal with that because apparently I was putting it in it wrong, and it kept jamming with my printer. So I talked to my sister friend, Cynthia C Fashion, and she would help me with, the SIS system, but it just didn't work for me. Now, she swears by the SIS system. She uses it all the time. I am not a fan of the SIS system. So I talked to my other sister friend, Shay, and she said, girl, I use the cartridges. Why don't you just use the cartridges? I was like, I don't know. So finally, when I tried it, I got the cartridges the first time I tried it. I was ecstatic because it was so easy. You see? Now, this black ink cartridge, sometimes you can get a cartridge that's thin, just like the red, the blue, and the yellow. But it didn't work. When I had that, it didn't work. So I had to get this double system here for the black. And everything works fine for me. I'm happy about it. So what I was going to say earlier is that when you get your Epson printer, it comes with ink. It comes with regular printing ink. Please do not set your system up with that ink. Please do not use the ink that comes with your cartridge. If you set your printer up with that ink, you're not going to be able to do sublimation. Please do not use the ink that comes with your Epson printer or whatever printer you're using. You have to use sublimation ink, else you will not be able to sublimate. Please do not. This is a warning. Please do not use the ink that comes with the Epson 7710 or 7720. So what I would advise you to do, if you're considering getting an Epson, I'm just going to say Epson because that's what I use. If you're considering getting an Epson printer, please consider shopping for your sublimation ink so that the ink can come at the same time as your printer. Now you see I'm putting the ink cartridges back in. Please make sure when you're reinstalling the ink cartridges that you match them up with the colors, with the corresponding colors. I put the black in first. Now I'm putting in the blue. And you must press each one of them down until you hear a click. That's the blue, the red, and now I'm putting in the yellow. And while I was talking about the ink, the sublimation ink, I was shaking the cartridges to make sure that the ink was being distributed properly. Now that I have them all back in, you see the computer, the printer is looking at the ink, so to speak. It's looking at the ink. And right now it says that my black ink is still empty. The blue and the red and the yellow are still like they were before I did that. Now you note it says there that I did not put in the original Epson ink. And it tells you that. So that if anything goes wrong, they can't be responsible for you using somebody else's ink other than Epson. I've been using this ink since I've gotten my printer, and it's been fine. So now I'm going to go to settings, and I'm going to go to supply status and see what it says. So it has recognized that the black is full. It has given the blue a little bit more and the red a little bit more, but it doesn't say that they're full. So I'm going to go to maintenance, and I'm going to go ahead and print a head nozzle check. Okay, that's going to show you how the ink is going to print out on your paper. So now it's just telling me to load the paper and then push start. And when you load the paper and you push start, then the the printer will begin to do whatever it does so that it can print out the test page for you, so you can see exactly what the ink is doing. Okay, you see those two things on the screen? You have the broken lines and the solid lines. You look at your paper and see which one printed out. My lines are solid. Yay! All of my lines are solid. So that means that everything is fine with that. So I hit OK, yay. Now I'm going to do the other test. And we just want to make sure that all the heads are lined up and that everything is okay. That takes a while, so I'm not going to sit here and watch all of that go on. It'll, let you know when it's done, and then you can move on. Now I'm printing out a test page to see that everything's okay. It printed out again. Oh, all the lines are solid. All right. Now, if all of the lines had not been solid, we would have to keep doing that over and over again. And I've done that before, and that can use up a lot of ink. So make sure when you're doing this that you're following your steps so that everything could be okay. You won't be wasting your ink. Now I'm going to do a test page of one of my images. And this image is being printed on regular paper, regular copy paper, because I forgot to put the sublimation paper in, because I don't like to use my sublimation paper for testing. Sublimation paper is not always cheap, so gotta do what's right, honey. So there's my beautiful, beautiful image. And again, I did that on regular copy paper, but the colors were nice and pretty on the copy paper, so I also know that they're going to come out on the sublimation paper. Well, thank you all for watching. I hope I said or showed something that helps you or will help you. And may your journey with sublimation be great. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment below if this video blessed you. All right, Lady T, signing out.